The other reason why you may want to have a flex group, which is not something you're going to use every day, but that's a plus, is for smart upgrades. So what this is when you upgrade your controller code, and we'll check that in module 12, you of course will have to upgrade your AP code as well. The APs are going to get their code from the controller, so you don't need to upgrade the APs directly. As a matter of fact, if you just reboot the controller, when the APs are going to join the controller, they will see that there is a mismatch in the code, and the APs are going to download a new firmware from the controller, reboot, and join again. This is also a reason why you want to have the same code on all your controllers, because if you have the APs jumping around, they will have to get a new firmware, reboot, and maybe they will join another one, get another firmware, reboot, etc., so it's unstable. But if you do your job right and you have all the codes the same on the controllers, well, the APs will get the code automatically from the controller. That has two downsides. One is that you waste time because the AP reboots and then gets a new firmware, reboots again. So you're wasting a cycle here, which is a few minutes, but that may count in a network which is in production. The second downside is when you use Flex Connect APs, because those are typically over a WAN link, which means that bandwidth counts there. So if you have many access points connecting to the same controller and you do a code upgrade, you don't want these APs to do one by one firmware download, which is the same firmware for all APs, but having them do it one by one for all APs. So what you can do in that system is, instead of having these multiple copies of the same code being sent over the WAN, is use the Flex Connect group to simplify the process. And when you do so, you define what we call a master. And that master is going to be the one receiving the code from the controller. And the Flex Connect group APs will know that one of them is the master, and because they know that, instead of asking the controller for the code, they will just ask the master. So you send the code only once over the WAN, and then it's locally distributed, because we expect that the APs in the same Flex Connect group are going to be in the same location where you have a LAN and then fast speed. So that code is going to be distributed from the master to the others. So it doesn't happen every day, but when you upgrade your controller code, having that Flex Connect group and the system of master for the upgrade is going to simplify the process by limiting the amount of software you send over the WAN. This configuration is done still at the Flex group level, right? So you go back to your Flex group and there is a tab that is called Image Upgrade. If you go here, then you can decide to enable this feature. And when you do so, of course, you need to have more than one AP in your group. So let me add another one. I switch this one to Flex as well. So we have two. And when I go back here, I check Flex AP Upgrade, and then that tells me that I want to use that Flex Connect simplified upgrade system. So I can choose which image I want to download from my controller. And the controller, has several images. When you upgrade, there's a primary and a backup. And when you reboot, you can decide which one of these two images is going to be your primary and which one is going to be your backup. If you go to Commands and Config Boot, you can see which one is which one is the primary and which one is the backup. Okay, so decide which code you want to send to your access points. And when you go back to your Flex group, to the Image Upgrade tab, you check that box, say that you want to push whichever image to the access points in that group, set the number of times the slaves, the non-master, are going to try to get the image from the master in case you have some connectivity issues that may be important. And after you have decided of your master, you just check this Flex Connect Upgrade button, and the image will be pushed to the master, and then from the master to the slaves. And voila. Your access point will be upgraded to whatever code you decided to send to the APs, in that case the primary.